Decisions. We make thousands of them throughout the day. Many are simple, like what color socks should I wear or what should I have for breakfast today? But some are larger than that. Some decisions will change the course of our lives, for better or worse. When we're faced with these dilemmas, we do our best to prevent bad decisions. You might use tactics like pros and cons lists, gut feelings, or advice from close friends and family. But what if you never had to make a bad decision? You live your life with confidence that your decisions will never hold you back again.
Welcome back to Hoods Off, Hands Down, where our goal is to live happier, healthier lives. My name is Nate, and just like everybody else in this world, I've made some good decisions and some that have set me back. But worst of all, I've been so paralyzed by my fear of making bad decisions that some I just never made at all. I'm a person prone to indecision and I rely heavily on my gut instinct. So I had to develop a framework to help guide me through life. What I'm about to introduce, I call the architecture of meaning. And it's essentially a compass and map to help you navigate through life. The goal of this framework is to limit the possibility of ever making bad decisions by understanding exactly what a good decision looks like. This will require you to dive deeply into your thoughts, interests, and motivations, and will take you about an afternoon to develop. Let me explain the concept.
Think of a foundation, a roof, and the pillars that hold it up, where the foundation is your core existence. The roof is your sense of fulfillment, and the pillars are your guiding principles. The stronger your guiding principles, the more robust and durable your sense of fulfillment can be. If one of your pillars is out of whack, then structural integrity is compromised. Your job is to create and maintain your pillars. Step 1 to creating your pillars is a brain dump. Write down everything that feels important to you without editing it. Think across all categories of life and use the prompts in your guidelines, such as what makes me feel alive. Now that you have the raw material, it's time to start finding the themes beneath the words. Group words that feel connected by feeling, not logic. Then simplify and merge them. The goal is to pick one word or phrase that sums up all words in your group. Take your time with this. These will be your future pillars. Then we'll test these groups. Ask yourself questions like, would I still value this if no one rewarded me for it? We're trying to whittle down our pillars to only the most essential guiding principles. Once you have somewhere between 3 and 8 pillars, you're going to define each pillar. Your definition should explain what the pillar means to you, not what a dictionary says it means. Now, you'll build your house of meaning. Draw it out on a piece of paper, create your pillars, and label them.
Here's the actual paper that I put together when I was starting this. This is where I started to group everything together. As you can see, I crossed out the words as I started to group them together. Then I came up with my definitions, wrote them front to back here, and finally just drew out my house of meaning. As simple as it is, that's what it can remain if we don't use it. There are 2 things we'll want to do with this framework. Number 1, use it to help us make decisions. And number 2, maintain our pillars. Before we use this to start making decisions, we have to learn how to maintain our pillars. I'm going to keep this as simple as possible, but I've made available a downloadable guide and maintenance log in the description. Each pillar will be assigned a status: maintained, strained, degrading, and collapsed. To determine the status of each pillar, we will first have to establish our maintenance criteria. This is what you need to do on a regular basis to keep these things healthy and structurally sound. These should be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Think complete 6 workouts per week, sleep 8 hours per night, meditate 10 minutes per day. Statuses of your pillars are set based on how well you're completing your maintenance criteria. Maintained, you're completing all of your maintenance criteria on a regular basis. Strained, you're missing a couple of your maintenance criteria occasionally. Degrading, you're missing most of your maintenance criteria on a regular basis. And collapse, meaning you haven't completed any of your maintenance criteria for an extended period of time. This gets the highest priority to fix. If a pillar has a status of anything other than maintained, we're going to set a degradation reason. The degradation reason should be specific, just like our maintenance criteria. Think less so, I'm busy, so I couldn't go to the gym, and more so, I have a project that's gonna last me the next 2 months. It's requiring me to work overtime, and with my limited free time, I've prioritized hanging out with my wife rather than going to the gym. Life is busy, it's going to require these types of prioritization. That's okay temporarily, we do not want it to be permanent. So we're gonna set a repair clock. And your repair clock is the time by which your pillar will be brought back to a maintained status. To do so, we are also gonna set our repair action steps. Those are the steps that you're gonna take to get your pillar back to a status of maintained. These also should be specific. So same scenario, the project ceases in 2 months. I'm going to take a wellness day once it's complete, and I'm gonna sign up for a 5K with a friend and complete that within 1 month of finishing my project. Remember, I have the downloadable guide in the description as well as the maintenance log, and that will have more extensive instructions on how to complete this process. Now that we know the statuses of each of our pillars and what it's going to take to maintain them, we can start to filter decisions through them. This is gonna look different from person to person. Everybody is gonna have different pillars and different levels of prioritization. Let's say I'm doing an excellent job of maintaining my pillars, so each and every one of these is green. I apply for a new job and I get the offer. It's a more senior position than I currently have, so I'll be making a 20% pay increase. But with a jump in position, I'll be managing a team and therefore will have more responsibility that may lead to higher levels of stress and longer work days. I currently work from home and will now be working in the office with a 45-minute commute each way. Now that we have the scenario, we'll start crunching some numbers. I've set time commitments to each one of my maintenance criteria, and therefore I have time commitments for each of my pillars. This is something that you should do, and you'll see in your maintenance log in the description, there is a column to set time commitments. Now, I already know what mine is based on a 40-hour work week, no commuting, and it's 150 and a half hours. There are 168 total hours in the week. That is already pretty tight, and that's not including my variable commitments like philanthropy and things that happen in between time like showers, meal prepping, and so on and so forth. This is already tight. If I add in 20 more hours, I am over the 168 hour total. If I add in even 10 more hours, I am threading a needle, especially knowing I have other time that is somewhere throughout here. So likely not gonna work for me, but I'm going to take a look at each of my pillars and see if there are things that I can shift around if this job is really enticing or really important for me and my family. So we know that this is gonna take care of my homemaking pillar. Getting a 20% raise is gonna be incredible. We know that this is gonna make this pillar go up. Now, the first thing that I'm gonna think about is the pillar that this is directly going to affect. Is this pillar in an urgent status? Is it collapsed? Is it degrading right now? Do I really seriously need to make more money? In that instance, I may sacrifice a couple of these other pillars for a period of time in order to get this pillar to go up. However, right now I said my statuses are all maintained, so that is not the case. The next thing I'm going to do is see if this job will touch on multiple pillars so that I can take some of my time commitments away from other pillars and put it towards this job. First thing I'm gonna look at, I know that creating, I have about 17 hours. So perhaps this job is something where I can create and I'm able to reduce that 17 hours and be fulfilled. As far as the prompt goes, it's a leadership position, more responsibility. You're probably not doing much creating. That's probably not gonna be the case. I'm not willing to sacrifice connection, my personal sovereignty, health and wellness. So the only thing that really leaves left to look at is self-overcoming, which essentially is overcoming challenges to become a better version of yourself. It's not really gonna be something a job is gonna do, so I'm gonna say no. Intellectual exploration, that could work if it's a new industry, a new position, that could work, but for me right now, that's not the type of intellectual exploration that I'm looking for, so I'm gonna give it a big old X. Last but not least is altruism, compassion, and philanthropy. This was a position with, say, a nonprofit doing something that fills you with the warm and fuzzies, then that might work, but that's a big if, and a big if on the scenario. We'll say no right now. So in this circumstance, I'm gonna know that I do not have the time for this position. This is an awesome process just to show how much actual time you are committing to the things that you care about in your life and how much time you have left for new endeavors. If I actually looked at this board beforehand, I would know that I didn't have time for a new position with more responsibility, so I would have applied to that job in the first place. This framework is designed to help you understand yourself, to build more fulfillment in your life, and to stop indecision. So if you're taking the easy road or lying to yourself or skirting your way around one of your pillars, it's only gonna harm you. Put the time in, make sure everything is being maintained properly, and this truly will help you bring fulfillment to your life. On a daily basis, we're gonna look at our definitions and our pillars. It's gonna keep us grounded and keep us anchored on the things that help us feel satisfied and feel happy. On a monthly basis, we're going to look at our pillars and we're going to reset our statuses. Use your maintenance log to determine how often you're completing your maintenance criteria, and then set your statuses at the end of each month. That'll help us kind of steer the ship in the right direction. On a yearly basis, we're going to check our pillars and make sure those are the things that we're still prioritizing. Maybe you have to add a pillar, remove a pillar, change some maintenance criteria, etc. If you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Please don't forget to go into the description and download the guide and the maintenance log. They'll give you a lot more details on how to maintain, how to create. So be sure to download that and subscribe to watch more videos.